Hey guys, this week we're talking about the Tower of Babel. And to do that, I want to look at basically the Genesis 11 passage. And what we're going to do is, as I said, the next post would be on what is ministry. But what I want to look at is maybe how to look at what ministry is through the lens of this story of the Tower of Babel. Now, the two don't really seem to go together at all, but I think you'll see maybe that they can. So, when we read this story of Genesis 11, the Tower of Babel, it's this story, and it basically seems to kind of have maybe one or two main points. It seems to basically be a story about a bunch of people who rebelled against God, and God took that opportunity to show them that He was the one who was actually in control. So we could read the story and just kind of have that conclusion. It also kind of seems to offer us an explanation about where all these different languages originally came from. But I think there might be something deeper that this story gets at, and I think that deeper aspect is tied in with our understanding of language. So in language, we have these misunderstandings that occur all the time. And I think they occur partly because in language we have this notion that we can fully be present with each other and fully understand each other. But that really often is quite an illusion. For example, I could be talking with Karen, my fiance, and I could be telling her about a ski trip to Colorado, telling her all about a specific thing that happened while we were out on the slopes, and she could be listening, seeking to understand my story and everything that I'm telling her about. But at the same time, I could be thinking about my dog Mayor and about scheduling his next vet appointment at the same time that I'm telling her this story. So while she thinks that she's fully present with understanding my story, there's an aspect of understanding that's missed there. I'm not even fully present when I'm telling this story. So there's this illusion that we have that we can fully understand each other. So Paul even talks about this. He talks about in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12, he says, basically, now we see things imperfectly. It's almost as if they're puzzling reflections in a mirror. He says something of the sorts. But he longs for this day when he will see things clearly. I think we all have that sense of longing to see things clearly. So the topic of this post is, what is ministry? Well, it seems odd to maybe go to the story of the Tower of Babel to answer this question, but ministry is really actually, I think, tied up into this story and some of the deeper things that it gets at. Now, when people say ministry, that word, for some reason I always think about Harry Potter and the Ministry of Magic. And the ministry in that story functions as this kind of secretive organization that's away from all humans, non-magical sorts, and it functions as their system of almost government, and it gets corrupt and different things like that. But when I'm talking about ministry, I'm not talking necessarily about that aspect. I'm talking about Christian ministry and how we understand Christian ministry. One of the guiding images I think that really helps in understanding what ministry is this concept of the wounded healer. I think this idea of the wounded healer is really well illustrated in actually a Greek myth. It's the myth of Chiron, the centaur. And if you're familiar with the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief books, Chiron is actually the camp director, I believe, in that story. He's a centaur, which is mostly a horse body with kind of a human part coming out the front instead of a horse's head. Chiron is the son of the Titan Kronos. Chiron is immortal, which means he can't die. And what happens to Chiron is he accidentally gets wounded by an arrow dipped in the blood of Hydra. But because he's immortal, he doesn't die. He just has this eternal torment that he has to live with. So Chiron goes and he tries to find a cure for this eternal torment, this everlasting pain that he's in, and he doesn't find a cure, but he finds a lot of things that are really helpful. He brings a lot of healing to a lot of people, and he finds great comfort in sharing with other people what he's learned about healing and what he's learned about caring for the body and trying to heal from pain. So really, what's great about this story is that Chiron doesn't find the solution he's looking for, but he finds an even better one. He finds that his purpose is greater than just pleasing his own self, but his purpose is actually found greater fulfillment in curing other people. So if you think about it, in the Christian story, we kind of have the same concept with Jesus, right? Jesus was nailed to a cross. He was wounded and killed on our behalf. And it's through that wounding, it's through that pain and the death that healing is now brought to all of humanity. It's really interesting that this thought of now we're broken, and we long for healing, and we long for this sense of being fulfilled or being full of something that we can't quite find. But that's not the goal. And I think in Christianity we can see this too, as the goal of ministry maybe isn't to heal and offer the cure, but maybe it's to share our burdens together, and as Paul says, to bear with one another through suffering. So the good life that God gives us, maybe it's not the answer that we were looking for, but maybe it's an answer that brings a lot of fullness that we never knew was there.